long time no chat. So today is January, was it 28th or something? So this is the first video this year, 2024. Woo! So I just came from a professional photo shoot that my employer put on because they're updating the website and everybody needs to have like a uniform look. So they actually let us do 2 looks. So I did you know, all black business, and then we were able to do something that like represented us. And so I'm trying to go for more like boho chic. So my mother got this dress for me for Christmas, and so I wore that. The undershirt was a choice because I'm wearing like a push-up bra, and so the front doesn't close. There's like a clasp that even without a bra on, it kind of didn't clasp correctly. So I just went ahead and was like, let me just put a shirt underneath. So it might look a little weird. That's kind of my aesthetic, I guess. Because honestly, like, I dress either, you know, to the nines, but not like in a way that was like, you know, showing off beautiful, but more like professional, you know, like business suit, that kind of thing. Or I do not dress for my age. I wear jeans and like a nerd t-shirt. That's pretty much it. I went through like a goth phase, and I still really love the look, but I feel like I aged out of it. I don't know if you can ever age out of a lifestyle or a feel and aesthetic, but I just felt like it was time for me to mature. So that's why I'm going boho chic. So it's kind of more of the long lines of like hippie, but like more modern hippie than like 70s feel, if that makes sense. So anyway, so I know the audio is not good on my phone anymore. It's always coming out of one side. So that made me stop recording in the car until I get that figured out. But I just have had no time to record this, and I wanted to get something out to say I am still here. It is still a priority for me to have my Cypress channel going and the tier 2, you know, the video games. But I am literally booked, you know, front to back. And when I'm not booked, I'm busy with something else. So I don't think, I might have said this, I can't remember if I said it back in December, right before Christmas, we became foster, you know, parents, I guess, I don't know, for puppies. So we had 2 puppies living with us. One, Nick, the boy, did get adopted, but we still have Noelle. And so internally we're talking about, you know, we might actually keep her because we've always wanted like a house dog, you know, but we're kind of like letting the fates decide. So we've had her, yeah, straight month now. And so, you know, there has been a little bit of interest, I was told, but nothing's been booked to see her yet. So she did go on one adoption, like, you know, visual thing, but it, that was when Nick was chosen. So she didn't get chosen. So she's been with us. So it's been hard to separate and go upstairs, which is where we can record, like our recording stuff is set up upstairs. But it's hard to go up there because we do let her go up, but she has to be supervised. So I can't, it's very hard to even, so I play downstairs. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, leave me alone. I know it's controversial, but it's a great game. So I'm sorry, okay? I waited a whole year. I didn't play it till this year, 2024. And I got it on the Switch. But anyway, yeah, so I've been playing that because I can sit on the couch with her, and we, you know, it's puppy proof to downstairs in the living room, so it's easier. There's not much stuff she can get into. But upstairs with all these electronics and stuff, if I am not only playing a game, so I'm, you know, focused on that, but then I'm even more focused on trying to be entertaining and talking, that takes a bit of your brain too, right? Me driving right now, actually, I am, this is like horrible traffic, so I'm going 27 now, and I'm on a highway, so I am recording, you know, while I'm driving, but at the same time, you know, it's just straight and slow. But I acknowledge that recording yourself takes a little bit of your attention. And so talking to the camera, talking to this, is a little bit more like just talking to a friend, in my opinion. But yeah, you know, I check my mirrors and I check to make sure I'm still on the screen, you know, and it's still recording. So to have to do that and watch a puppy, but then also you're playing a game, so it's even more so than driving. Like, you have to, like, you know, I feel like it takes more attention because there's more things to do. I've got a gas and I have a pedal and I've got a brake pedal, but if I'm not changing lanes, then I'm just going straight. So I don't know, but I don't text and drive, but I sometimes record and drive. So there are no PSAs about that, so I don't know if it's not safe to do or not. So anyway, don't come after me. I don't want to get canceled. But yeah, so that's that. And then the back when I was an intern, remember that stint in my life? So I'm no longer interning. I am still with Wonder Women Tech, but I spoke with you know, the CEO, the founder, and I'm a little bit more. I've kind of skipped the yeah, wow, why was I gonna say improv? I forgot the word intern. I've skipped the internship. It technically was supposed to end in, I guess, in February, but so I'm just as a volunteer. So I'm on long term. I'm helping with the podcast. You know, she'd love for me to be more involved, and I told her, like, I'd love to be more involved, but we both understand that I would need to be compensated for the time that would be needed, and at this point she can't. There's no space for me at this point. So hopefully in the, you know, in the future, it might be something that I can do more of like a freelance contractor thing. But right now I've got my work cut out for me, so I've been doing a lot of stuff for that podcast, because it came out from kind of a hiatus. It was an unplanned hiatus. I 100% understand when you have to prioritize things. The podcast is more of entertainment and educational for the consumer, for the, you know, the supporter of Wonder Women Tech, but it doesn't bring in income on its own. And so when you are running a business, that kind of thing, that like passion project is always the first to be put back on hold. I've had to do that with my own podcast, you know, I've had to do that with this Cypress channel, right? It's something that I love, it's something that I'm passionate about, but I can only give so much of my time when it's allotted for other things. So, and like that, now this, you know, volunteering, it's been a great experience. There will be opportunities to network. I've already met some wonderful women, and so it's definitely something I want to do, but again, it's a sacrifice, right? So so when I do have time for myself, I have not had time for myself. The only time I've had time for myself, I have been able to have a few game days where I sit on the couch and play Hogwarts Legacy while I babysit Puppy. That is true. And so that's more for like a mental health break, because literally this entire week with my employer, we've had summits for our clients. And so those literally are, you know, I get up at like 6:37 and I drive into downtown Atlanta, Midtown technically. So if you are aware of this area, you know, yesterday it took me 2 hours to get there, but it only took me like 45 minutes to get home, maybe closer to 35 minutes. So it's like Atlanta traffic, you never know, right? Today I thought it was going to take me 2 hours to get there because it was raining this morning, but it only took me, again, 45 minutes. So it's a weird thing. I love Atlanta, but I hate driving into Atlanta when I have a time, like a designated time limit. You know, if I'm like, oh hey, I'm going to go to Centennial Park, or I'm going to a convention, it doesn't matter if I get there at 3 or 3:30 or 3:39, you know, it's fine. But yeah, when you have to get there for work every day, it is very stressful. And so luckily like that, we are hybrid. So we usually only meet once a week. And I can definitely do that. They work really well. We actually don't start those meetings until between 10 to 11, and it's only on Tuesdays, you know, so it's a lot easier to manage because it's a stress, you know, to be on this multi-lane traffic, having to weave in and out like that. I'm on this road till morn. Actually, I do have to get on another highway, but I won't record at that point. But anyway, yeah, so it's a straight line now, so that's great. But going into Atlanta and like one-way only streets, and you have to go over here, and then there was construction, which did not help things at all. So yeah, so it just drained me this week. So it was nice to have a little glam up today. It was a little fun day, and I did finally get some work. So what had happened was I was hired as a project specialist. It will hopefully, I think, in the very near future become like an actual project manager. My description already says I manage projects across the agency. So it's not like I don't have one client, you know, that I'm managing, you know, because we have account directors who work with that one client. I am all cross agency. I'm actually going to be setting up a PMO, project management office, which is great like that. It's great for my resume, and it's also great experience to really be in an agency where they are growing, you know, they've got a great, you know, like 5-year plan type of a thing. And to come in on the ground of that and help build it is really fun. I know it's going to be challenging, but it is exciting. And so I've been working with like the operations manager, who's like, you know, the right-hand man of the CEO, is my direct supervisor. So right now though, because we were like prepping for these summits and getting everybody onboarded, because like that, a lot of us started because they were able to increase. So 5, is it 6? I think it's 5 of us started January 3rd. We all started together. And so we've been here for like 3 weeks. So the focus has been on them getting introduced to the clients and just keeping things running so that like there's no fires and there's no, you know, missteps, and which again has been great. Everybody who's been hired is perfect for their roles, and they all work really well together. So it's going to be a great thing. But I didn't get to start my job yet, right? Because it's all the workflows and the policies and the procedures that like we're going to integrate some tools to help. And we're not there yet as an agency, because we need to make sure you need to continue doing what's working. So back when they only had 3 or 4 employees, they had to help out each other. So that's how they got things done, and they were used to that. And there is nothing wrong with that, but like that, they want to expand. So now they don't have to do everything, but at the same time, that handoff needs to be strategically planned. So my job did not exist before January 3rd. So I am taking from 2 people very specifically would be my responsibilities. But while I knew and like that everything is getting on track and everything for the new year, they don't want to hand anything over to me, rightly so. I am not like, that is in no way me complaining. I'm just like stating facts, right? But that means that my reality is I've had nothing to do. And so I've tried asking, hey, just merge, dude. We're supposed to be merging, and he's not coming over into my lane. He is literally following the white line, going 17 miles an hour. If I were going to hit you, I would have done it already. What are you doing? If you're on the wrong road, like, this isn't the place for you. I can't safely go around him. Maybe I can. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut that out. I got a little verbally aggressive because we were merging and the person was going 17, and I left space for him and he wasn't. Anyway, everyone had to go around him. Like, I don't know if there's something wrong with his car. He looked confused as so anyway, So yes, so I've been taking notes, which is a part of project management, you know, being in the meetings and stuff. I was ready because everyone else who was on board and stuff hit the ground running. So they started, okay, this is what the client needs, you know, this is the deliverables, yada yada. I wanted to hit the ground running too, but I can't overstep the like account director, because I am also used to first of all, nonprofit, where there is no project management, so like you just kind of make do. And so I would always lead the projects, but it was more focused in marketing. But I would do the strategic plan and everything like that. I was essentially a project manager, so much so that like the PMI accepted that. So I was able to use that to say I've had project management experience and be authorized, because you have to be approved to even take the test to get certified. So like I know what I'm doing, but it's overlapping what my coworkers who were hired to do. So at the very first, I was like, I should be running these meetings. And then I had to take a step back and be like, no, you know, in a more of an agile, you know, setting, I would just be supporting. So I would just be making sure everyone had the resources that they needed. And so that kind of showed up as I was taking notes. I would send follow-up emails to be like, these are the action items that came from these. And then like that, they had to figure out how to incorporate me into their workflow. So at the very start, it was like I was their secretary. So they said, hey, can you set up my one-on-one with what, you know, with somebody else? And but there's no need. If you don't need me to take notes on the project, I don't need to be in that meeting. So that was quickly corrected. And so, you know, we're just kind of like level setting is the key word I've been using this entire week. So to just kind of being like, okay, this is where we are. Everyone now knows what to do, and now let's add on. So my actual work and stuff will start on Monday. I have, I did finally get a project which is working in basically document control, and so I'm doing that right now. I'm not halfway done. I just started yesterday, but I'm at least a third done. Like I have a great setup of what I'm doing, so I'm able to show myself my worth that way, you know, because I was just thinking, I'm like, basically I'm a glorified note taker, and you know, they spent hundreds of dollars on my meals, and then on you know, my headshot and stuff. But like the makeup artist was saying, she's like, well, you know, it's an investment, you know, they understand they have to invest in you, and it's going to take time, but my time will come. So, you know, and my supervisor is even like, you know, you I know you want it now, but it's going to get crazy. And I understand everyone who always says that to me, they always mean well, and I don't mean to like have an attitude or anything. So I'm like, yeah, I understand. But I've always been very prepared for what was handed to me. And like that, like my former CEO literally was like, you dance circles around me. How are you getting so much stuff done? And because it was all effective, it wasn't like I was like shortchanging, you know. It's just how I work. It's just how mentally I'm able to do that. There are a lot of things I'm not good at, such as mingling at meetings. I'm just like, let me do my work. I want to focus. Let me do this. So, you know, right now I've not been able to show what I'm good at. But regardless, that has been taking up all of my time because those meetings would go till about 5 or 6, and then we have dinner, you know, from 7 to 9:30, and it takes like an hour to get home. So I was getting home every night, you know, 10:30, 11, after having left the house at, you know, at least 8, if not 7, and every single day so far, you know. And like last week we had our own, you know, meetings in person. So it's just been it's been exhausting. It's been a trial. I've been tested in other ways, you know, because I do suffer from, I have generalized social anxiety, or generalized anxiety with a focus on social anxiety. So I have had to, like that, drive to new places, find parking. I am directionally challenged, so that's always, you know, that's been stressful. Just things that I've never had to actually really do so close to each other. I've had to like go, you know, like that. I've gone to like a work, you know, convention, conference type of a thing. You know, I've had to travel, that kind of stuff, but it's always been one-off. You go there and then, okay, you're at the convention center. Now you stay there and you do your job. And I'm great at that. You show me, you know, where the desk I can use is, I'm good, you know. And it hasn't been that way. And so, you know, I've had a lot of frustrations, you know, personal frustrations, you know, not necessarily upset with myself or upset with the agency or like any of my coworkers in particular. It's not that kind of a thing. It's very much that growing pain, that this is new and changes are always stressful, and they're always they're a challenge to navigate, right? And so that has been my reality for all of January. And I also am one of those, I literally, like, if I have nothing to do at a job or something, I will clean the windows, right? There's always something that needs to get done. And I like to be able to say, you know, if you have me from these hours, that's the agreement, I'm going to work those hours. What do you need me to do? I can help you photocopy stuff. I can, you know, like, I can go, and that's always what I've always done, and I've always burnt out, so I have to acknowledge that. But I've always been cross-departmental, cross-functional, because it's like, yeah, that's not my job, but my job, I finished my job. Now I can help Sally Sue with her job, and now we can both be finished, and we can have more time to prepare and do better for the client. The mission comes first, right? The project or whatever you're working on, why else? If we don't put the importance on that, why are we here? If you're just here to get a paycheck, it comes through in your work, I think. And I think that's also why I've always been such a job hopper, because I need things to matter, you know? And like that, it doesn't have to be saving lives important, but there needs to be a greater purpose to what I do. And so like that, okay, well, helping, you know, create the operational procedures, workflows, and processes to really help grow this agency and make sure things are on time, under budget, in scope. Like, great, that's okay. I agree. That's what I want to do. Let me do it, you know. But anyway, so yeah, I've not even been able to go to choir because I also then got sick. So fostering a puppy, doing a volunteer thing, working a new job, and so it's, and then I got sick. So, you know, it's just been very, it's been difficult to find the time, and I feel things are slipping by, you know, because you can only juggle so much, and I acknowledge that, and I'm trying to work through that, and some things are, let's just survive this week, because I can't do domestic chores or look after the puppy if I am literally an hour away. I'm 30 miles into the city, you know. I literally physically can't help with you right now, you know, and I felt very guilty about that, and I think that also has just been taking all of my energy. So when I do come home, well, then I usually just have time to take a shower and go to bed, but I hopefully now, you know, because most of the time now I'm going to be working remotely, so I can have a much more planned out, you know, schedule, and I can put that priority in. I can say, okay, I work till 6, then I'm gonna do dinner and my chores, and when you keep up with the daily, you know, tasks, it doesn't take that long, and then, okay, cool, after dinner I can record for tier 2, or I can make a, you know, write my Cypress, you know, whatever. So I definitely want to get into that. I do want to still try to live stream, and I just, again, I need to carve out the time to say, this is important to me, so this is what I'm going to do. And make sure that I also carve out time that is free time. So if I feel like sewing, I'll sew. If I feel like just playing a different video game and not recording it, that is what I shall do. But I also then have to allow myself to prioritize these other things that may not have a monetary worth or value to them at this point, but they are important to me in other ways, you know. So I'm also a part of, my coach has a monthly, he calls it the War Room, where we can all kind of meet up and have that accountability, because I understand my voiceover profession will never be full-time, and I'm coming to terms with that. I am trying to find a happy medium where I can still have a relevant and vibrant side hustle with it, because it will always be my passion. But I really want to get into character work, and I have never been able to break in just to even get rejected, right? I've been rejected for commercials. I've booked commercials. I found my focus for a while there in audiobooks, which I didn't think I ever would have done, because I never really wanted to do long form, you know, that kind of stuff. But I do it, and I enjoy it, and I like that. I think I said in my other one, I do have 3 novels in the works. I've not started on them yet, but it is understood that I will work on them. And so, you know, I just want to stay relevant. I don't want it to fall to the side where I, kind of like what has happened for a few years there, where I get so busy with other things that I stop auditioning, I stop considering myself an artist, and at the same time I need to understand and respect myself enough to say that it doesn't always have to be voiceover. I am an artist regardless of what medium it is in. And so if I tell a story on YouTube, or if I entertain on Twitch, or, you know, if I write another book, like, those are all outlets that I should be supporting in my own life, so that others understand that it is a priority, so that they respect that time that I carve out, and then I will feel overall satisfied. So I'll feel challenged at work enough to not get bored, because that's also been the other side of things. But it will feel like I am working towards something, or something that I can feel rewarding, because I feel like I'm achieving something. And then I can go home and have more of that creative outlet, because as a project manager, I will be working with creatives. Occasionally I might be able to be like, oh, how about we do this? But that's not really my position. So I would love to, the CEO of this agency does actually have he's starting, it's kind of new still, a film production studio. So, and he's open to having his people work in other avenues, because like that, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't be quitting and going over there. It would be an expansion. And once I set up this PMO, it might work out that I can have more time in my work week to work more on that place, or it would transfer over, because my goal is to be a project manager at a film or animation production studio, to have the projects be 100% creative. It's very similar what I'm doing now, in that it is entertainment, but it is more events, and the focus is marketing. It's not telling a story. The story is it's all about the story. That's kind of what I've been branding my Favoli Productions. Like, it's all about the story no matter what you do. So the marketing does have, obviously, that story element. And these events are experiences that it is like a live performance. It's a living art piece. And it very much so. My coworkers are immensely talented people, and so they put on some phenomenal things, and they've won awards for it. So like, objectively, they do good work, right? But anyway, so I'm just hoping to find that balance. I'm trying to get past just that one hurdle that has plagued me since adolescence. Everyone always has that, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I can't be what I want to be when I grow up, so I need to find a different way. And I thought I found that way, and I still was struggling with it, but I feel like where I am now, I could be happy, or like that, it will branch out and become something else. And that's not like that. If any of my coworkers see this, I don't think they will watch it, you know, but that's not to say that I'm already planning on quitting or anything like that. It's just, I am open to that opportunity, and it would be great if I could explore that with my employer. So, because like that, even for the marketing stuff, they do want to have a little bit more of that film production quality in their content creation. So even like that, even if it's technically still a marketing agency, if we're making, you know, almost like a reality show type for this brand, like, then that's basically the projects that I want to do. So it's essentially the same thing, you know what I mean? So so I just need to now find that work-life balance. So I can't promise that I will be posting regularly at this point in time. It is something that I, in the very near future, want to get to. Hopefully that means in a week or two. And I would like to, again, I would like to post weekly on Cypress, or possibly like 2 times a week. So one is more of a scripted research and the other one is more like this, just vlogging, you know. But then again, even though I'm busy, like vlogs are, you know, it's still an enigma to me, because it's like, well, what's interesting to people, you know? Like, all of these have been updates to explain why I've not been posting. But like, it's not, is this content, you know, and I know like I need different angles and all this kind of stuff, but I don't have the time, you know, that's the thing. Time is such a precious commodity. And that's actually what one of my main pillars that I will be discussing with my boss for the PMO is realizing that a resource isn't just the cost element, it's the time element. And some of the processes that they're doing have been so collaborative, and that has been such a beautiful thing to witness. But when you're growing, you need to be more strategic in those collaborative efforts and realize when someone could be more utilized in either a separate collaborative effort or solo, right? So, that's where that all is. So yeah, so oh yeah, so life update, I did officially get engaged. So we've known about it since October. We like selected our rings and everything. I did need to get mine resized, but we asked, that was disgusting, I'm sorry. We asked for official approval or blessings from my parents at Thanksgiving. And yeah, and then we went official. We did a fun photo shoot New Year's Eve. So well, we actually did it like the day of New Year's Eve, which is always funny to say, because every time you think of New Year's Eve, like I always went to like late night parties type of a stuff, but this was during the day. So anyway, yeah, so we are happy. We've been sharing it online. Everyone's like, it's about damn time. Like that. I've known him for 17 years. We've dated, if you add it all up, 5 years. Going on, well, now we're in our like yeah, 5 full years, because 4.5 and then no, yeah, 5.5 years we've dated. So there was like that, there was like a 13-year break in between where we were friends. But yeah, so our relationship is built on complete understanding, and we're just like that. At this point, we're ride or die, right? Like we were gonna buy a house together as friends. So there is that opportunity for romance and more of a partnership, and that's what we were exploring. We talked about it for a year, and then we got together for, yeah, I would say it was a year. It's hard because like that, like when you first start, you know, first meet somebody, you could say, oh, hey, you know, this is when we started dating. This was our first date. What we did was so organic, because I'd go hang out with him, or he'd come hang out with at my house. And then we were like, okay, well, should we see if the romance is something that we can, you know, get back? And so then we did. And so, you know, so it was just, it was an exploration of what we are, you know. We had a lot of great conversations because there is a lot of history there, both good and bad. And we've hurt each other, and we've seen the worst of each other, and we've always stuck around each other. And I think kind of literally laying that out, we both took accountability and responsibility for our part in a lot of things. And so, you know, you clear the air, you know, there was no bitterness there anyway, because we broke up 2 weeks later. He needed to move into my apartment, and Phil Harbor was there too. So the three of us were living together right after we broke up, after 4.5 years of dating. So we learned to just kind of get over it and see the humanity in the person, you know. And so, like, yeah, we might have said bad things or done cruel things, you know, petty, I should say, not cruel. We were never bad to each other, but, you know, people get into fights. People can be petty and catty, you know. And so we had to, like that, we had to just be adult about it. And a relationship was strong, and we were able to be friends, and we had to circle that whole aspect of, we were dating, we were talking about marriage, and now we're like, no, we're just friends. And it was never, we're just friends. It was, yes, like, we are, you know, platonic. We don't kiss and, you know, we hug, but like the way you hug a friend, you know. There were no like cuddling or anything. So there was that dynamic, but then you still have to navigate what it looks like, you know. And I think that is why getting back together was so organic, because we had a small break there of maybe 2 or 3 years where we didn't really talk, because he moved to Marietta and I was over in Duluth. And if you know what traffic is like, you understand why we stopped seeing each other. 100% was a logistical thing. It had nothing to do, like, we didn't have a falling out. It was just, oh, we can't see each other. And so then we started, you know, texting less and less. But it was no big fight. And then COVID happened, and again, he got screwed out of where he was living. And so it was like, come back, move up with us, because otherwise he'd have to move back to New York. And so we rekindled our friendship first, and then he got his own place, and we started, you know, being like, oh, well, there are still feelings there, you know. So it's, without giving too much like detail and stuff, again, because it's not my story to tell, it's our story to tell. And I know he probably doesn't want to share a lot of stuff. Nothing that like that, like his mom probably already knows everything, you know, like there was no, again, there's no like big secret or drama. It's just when you talk about someone being vulnerable and, you know, again, both sides, you know, opening up to each other, there's just some things you just don't share publicly, right? So, so yeah, so we're really happy. We don't know a date. We're thinking probably fall, you know, like November. We're working with, you know, the church where I'm a parishioner of the church, but that's where we will get married. That is where the wedding will occur. We are having more fun with the venue of the reception, and but we're also trying to keep a good budget, because at this point we want to have that, you know, blessed by God and the legal, you know, certificate, you know, that we are married partners. But we already live, like, you know, we live for each other already. We live with each other, not physically, because again, he's in Athens, I'm in Snellville, but it's already that very close bond, again, for life, right? So we don't need, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it needs to be this, it's going to be a very important, you know, celebration, but it doesn't need to be this big event. I have a coworker who showed me his, and he had an aerial trapezist at his reception. Like, the stuff he did, because he's a creative director working at a marketing agency, you know, like, so he went, you know, that's just what he naturally does, is going big, and that's fantastic. beautiful, so stunning. It was like, wow, I want to watch his wedding as like just a movie because it's gorgeous, right? It's its own living piece of artwork. And that would be great, but that's not who we are. So we just want, you know, a comfortable thing. And oh my gosh, even keeping it small, just a family. Neither of us have small family. So it's already going to be 200 people just for blood relations, you know? So, yeah, so we're just looking at the budget. We will, you know, instead of going on a traditional honeymoon, I think we just want to save up and we'll do a family trip to Disney. Well, I want to go to Disney. We'll do a family trip to Japan. Because, you know, Phil Harbour wants to go, I want to go, you know, Hirojin wants to go, my fiance. I forgot if I said his name's Andre. I don't know. I think I call them by their online handles, so it gets confusing. But anyway, and then his sister and her boyfriend already went, and it's like they want to do it as a yearly thing. So we were like, let's all go together. It'll be so fun. So I think we'll save up and do that as a, you know, honeymoon. And, you know, but it's really just, it's more about, it'll ease things up if we're married. It just makes things easier. Because then you don't, you know, you can live together, you can do all these things, you know, just saying, oh, my husband, and automatically, okay, fine, no questions, you know, whatever. So it will just simplify things if we get married, which is not the only reason we want to get married, obviously. But again, we've already been living as partners for life. So to just say married, it's just easier. I don't get these people who just stay together for years and they don't get married, but they live together and all this stuff. I'm just like, just from a logistics standpoint, it's just easier. Just get it on a piece of paper, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, so yes. Oh my goodness, is this, I don't know if the lighting is horrible. I can't see my camera, but anyway, so I was able to record all the way home. I somehow made it. It is a miracle. So I am going to rest my voice now. Yeah, that's been, oh my gosh, that has been such a stressful thing because I do have agents who send me auditions. And this whole week, you know, because normally I can work, it's remote 10 to 6 or like that one day a week, but it's more like it's at like 10 or 11. So I have the morning to do auditions, but this week I have not had to, I've not been able to. So I literally, or like that, I had a client, so I had to come home after that long ass day, 10 o'clock at night, you know, going into my studio to record. So, which I do love the hustle to a certain extent. I need it when I'm already confident in what I'm doing. Then I can mingle and I can multitask and really get shit done. And that's how I do. I go over here, I record this. I go over here, I sew this for this convention, you know, that kind of stuff. Or like that. Okay, I have to get this report done. Okay, and then I need to send that email out. I need to make that phone call. I am great with that. I'm great at figuring it all out, getting it all done by the end of the day, like Cinderella. Love it, right? But when I'm in a new atmosphere, it's not an office. We're renting, you know, a big room, a conference center for our, you know, client summit. And I have nothing to add other than taking notes. Like I feel a little, not out of my element, because note-taking is something I'm very familiar with, I'm very good at, and it has helped the team, and they've told me that already, so I appreciate that acknowledgement, because then I start to worry. So, you know, so then it's like, yeah, why am I here? You know, so it was helpful, but at the same time, I had no responsibility, so I felt very out in the open, you know, in the water with no paddle, no direction. There's nothing to do, but I always have to be there just in case. And that's the stuff that's not my strength and not my comfort. So I'm assuming this person can get in front of me. Anyway, yeah, so I'm hoping I can get back into a thing where I do some VO in the morning, or, you know, like that, my own marketing stuff, or, you know, the volunteer, you know, doing the podcast thing. and then, you know, I'm on it for my job, and I can give them, you know, work overtime as needed, and it'll be this very fluid thing where things get done, you know. And that's where I like to live, in that bubble. And so I really do, being remote helps so much. I know some people hate it, and even my CEO, he's like, you know, I feel like we need to be together because we work more collaboratively together. But there's a lot of stuff that you don't need to smell my body odor to get this work done. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is, you know, because other places, not where I am now, other former employers, being in the office was a control thing. They wanted you there just to control you, not because it was advantageous or anything. A lot of the stuff that I did wasn't face-to-face. I was still sending coworkers emails, you know. This, again, there's a lot of place where it is easier to have that conversation rather than in an email. You know, I still feel video conferences do best because when you are in person, it is much more organic, so people can talk over themselves or have two conversations simultaneously, which can help, but not really in a structured, which they, you know, the meetings need to be structured so you get more stuff done. Because if you talk over, then that other person didn't get it, so they're still going to have to connect. If you are relying on my notes to make sure you got everything out of a meeting, there's an issue with the meeting. You know what I mean? My notes are to reference, especially when we are talking creatively, and it's like, oh, let's have this, and there's brainstorming, and I write things down, and there's a decision made, so I bold that one so it's easy to see. This is what you came to. This was your progress to get there. This is what you came to. So that in, you know, 2 days, when you finally get to that piece, you can see, oh, here were these creative, you know, suggestions. This is how we came back, and then it will kind of re-click in your creative mind. That is what I'm there for. That and action items to say, Mary Jo will give this to Susie Blow, you know, at 2 o'clock on a Thursday. And then I follow it up with an email, or like that, I put it in a project management software to remind them, and which is what we're going to incorporate, because we haven't had that yet, because again, they were a very small group. Now that they are expanding the agency, they need that. That's where I come in. And so I am here to show them, yes, 100%, there are times where you need to be in person and collaborate and brainstorm on these things, but with a little bit more pre-planning, which is what I would be responsible for, and discussing with like the account director, and a flow and a process and a purpose to the meetings, not just let's talk about what everyone is doing in a willy-nilly haphazard way. So I've kind of outlined how a structured meeting would go, where you would get all that information, and then you can have supplemental, you know, things. So I'm not saying, you know, yeah, Tuesdays, let's all meet in person, but we'll have 3 different meetings. And luckily where we're meeting, you know, other people can have their side meetings. So if you're not in this meeting, you go sit out there, you could do your work by yourself or whatever, but we don't need you for this meeting. That is that resource that needs to be respected for what it is. Time to me is more important than money, you know, and so, or more valuable, maybe not more important, more valuable. So it's more of a commodity, I think, because you can always get loans, but you can't really ever borrow money, or borrow time. It comes from something. So, and it usually comes from the employee's personal life. But then if they don't have a satisfactory work-life balance, then you get burnt out, you get feeling jaded, you know, all this stuff. So I've talked long enough, but I think that this was needed for my channel, so that you can really understand where I'm coming from, and that I definitely do love this channel and will be posting more, but I just cannot promise anything at this exact moment. but I will be aiming to get an actual schedule together so that it will be more structured, because I'm supposed to be good at structure, and I am, but when other things are not structured around me, you know, whatever. Anyway, I'm getting defensive. So that's it for me. Yeah, so remember that you are loved, you are worthy, and whatever you are struggling with today will pass. Until next time, stay crazy.